Hello, welcome back. Boxer1 here, and as the title suggested, today we're going to be looking at a pretty cool creator set from 2017, and it's actually still on store shelves now, which is kind of crazy. But this is the Mighty Dinosaur set from 2017, set 31058. It has 3 builds, which I'll be showing off. Can't build them all at once, but I'll be showing off all 3 builds, plus the secret alternate build. So, without further ado, let's get into the first build, the T-Rex. Now, the green dinosaur that you may recognize from the front of the box is pretty cool little build. He looks pretty good from most angles. He looks a bit goofy from the front, but, I mean, they all look a bit goofy from the front. He has these little arms, which are very nice, with some ball joints. And, yeah, the ball joints are a little unsightly, and so is the gray. I don't know why they didn't make it just tan or green, but... anyway, he has ball joints on his legs as well, and so a very cool leg shape, actually. I quite like that shape for the legs, leading into the foot, which has 3 little toenails, one on a hinge. Also, don't know why they made the hinge gray. That's going to be one of my gripes about this set, but anyway, moving on down the back, which has some pretty nice sloping on it. It has a tail. Nice tail, 3 jointed tail, so you can move at the butt, at midway, at the end. Not the island of Midway. But it has basically the same thing on the other side, and a movable neck joint as well. Now you can move, oh yeah, and the top neck joint, and then the bottom one, which can move up and down. It's pretty cool. Anyway, the head, the head of the T-Rex is pretty cool as well. He has these little old eyes, which were also used on some Bionicles, I know, and then some other sets back then. It actually has a very widely opening mouth with a bunch of teeth in it. Very nice use of teeth pieces here, and it looks pretty good when closed, and especially when open. And it also comes with this little bone. Now this bone's, well, it's a bone. It's like the rib cage of some poor, unfortunate soul who got consumed by this guy. But yeah, that's about it. Being a creator set, it doesn't have many exclusive parts, since they have to be used for 3 builds. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my opinions on all the sets while in this section that they're shown, and at the end I'll give a final opinion on the whole set. So my opinion on this one is that it's pretty cool. I quite like it. It's a pretty nice little build. The one thing, or the multiple things that I don't like about it, is that this isn't the ball joint, and so is the end of the tail. It's not a ball joint. The rest of the things are pretty much ball joints. These aren't, but I think that's fine. But I don't know why they didn't make this and this a ball joint. That limits the mobility and posability a bit, especially with the head here. But other than that, and the pieces being weirdly colored for some reason, I quite like this set. Or this build of it, or this build of it at least, and I think it's pretty nice. It does fall apart pretty easy since they're all single joints, or most of them are, but it usually does stay together quite well if you're just displaying it or playing with it, not too rough. But anyway, I quite like this build. Let's move on to the next build, which is probably going to be the Triceratops. The second build in this set is much smaller than the big T-Rex, or I guess this would actually be the third build. We're kind of going out of order here, but it doesn't really matter. And it is the Triceratops, 3 horns, of course, and the big shield head that it has. A very cool use of the teeth pieces here for that, as well as a kind of a stopper for the bottom. So it stops at that. That's kind of nice. These legs are big and blocky, and they all are on ball joints. These ones are on ball joints out forward, so they can only really go front and side slightly, which is kind of weird that they did it that way, but, I mean, it still works pretty good. Does kind of limit mobility sideways, though, for those. Extremely limits them. You can only put them out that far, which isn't much at all. The tail, though, is very nice ball joints, and then the neck is on a ball joint. So I do like all the ball joints in this one. And I quite like the head. I think the head's probably the best part about this one. It's unique, And it uses pieces very well to create that angled look that the Triceratops has, which is very nice. So you can maybe ram somebody, or are they defensive? I forget if they're mainly defensive. I think they're defensive, mainly herbivores. I'm not up to date on my dinosaur lore. I should know this. It's one of the 3 basic ones. But yeah, I quite like this build. It's pretty simple, and you may have seen in the background in the picture earlier, this is the pieces left over. A big variety of them, actually. You can, quick little pan over. But not all the pieces are used in all of these builds. I guess it's time, since we've shown it off, to get on to my opinion on this one. And my opinion is that this is actually a pretty good build. Besides the colors, which is a problem with all of them, with the gray and all that, I think this is pretty nice. I don't really have any complaints besides that, besides these leg joints. But yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty nice, simple little Triceratops build. But without further ado, we can finally get on to the second to last build, the pterodactyl. And for the third and final, or second to final, final of the main builds, it is the pterodactyl. A very recognizable dinosaur, and a very cool looking build. I'll lay him flat here so you can more easily see him. This is what he looks like. Just a big diamond shape, and he has some pretty nice wings, again using teeth pieces, or tooth pieces, for some very nice design details there. He has a very long head, as these type of dinosaur does, and he has some big chunky feet like the Triceratops did. Makes sense. He does have a tiny little tail, very small tail, and then he has obviously the hump in the back as well, which I think looks pretty good. I quite like him. One thing I also really like is that there's ball joints on these 2 wings, and on the front it doesn't have a ball joint, but I think that's fine because this gives more than enough maneuverability. The legs, again, can't go out to the side, but I think that's pretty fine with this one because, well, it doesn't usually walk, first of all, and second of all, it wouldn't be as stable. But yeah, I quite like this build, and that's basically my opinion on it. It's pretty good. I quite like this one. Not as much as the Triceratops or the T-Rex, but, or actually, I'd say I put this in the middle of the 2. I like the T-Rex the best, this the second best, and then Triceratops the third best. Anyway, these are the pieces that are left over afterwards, and of the main builds, this has the most left over, which is kind of interesting given that it's quite a bit larger than the Triceratops. And with that build disassembled and added to the extra pieces, we can now get on to the fourth and final model, which is only found on LEGO.com, and was never printed as an instruction manual, nor is it in the box. There's just the suggestion on the back of the instruction booklets. But, without further ado, I shall see you once this is complete. And the fourth and final official model, the probably a Brachiosaurus, some type of sauropod, which is a long-necked dinosaur, and he's pretty cool. I quite like him. He uses, obviously, a lot of the pieces from the set, but he doesn't use all of them, as don't most of the builds. But he's pretty cool. He has eyes on either side of his head with the studs there, and yeah, pretty simple movement as well, same as the Triceratops really, where you can't move the front legs as much as you can the back. The tail has all ball joints, and the neck has 2 ball joints, which don't actually allow for too much movement. You can kind of move them side to side, as well as up and down, but especially at the neck joint, it doesn't have much side to side movement, unfortunately. I do quite like the look of him, though. He's just a guy, and I think he's a pretty cool little one at that. And that's my opinion on him, basically. He's pretty cool, but he's not the best. I definitely think the T-Rex is probably the best of the builds, being the main one. Using all the pieces, it's going to be just better. But this one's pretty cool, and I think it is. Quite a nice little build here. He's very reflective. And now for my final opinion on the set. I think it's pretty cool. I don't think it's perfect. It doesn't have any really exclusive pieces, I don't think. Or at least they're not very rare. It's a very simple set. Being a creator set, it's not going to be too complex or anything. But it's pretty cool. I quite like it for display value at the very least. I think you can get them in pretty cool poses, even if they don't have as much movability as I would like. I just think it's a pretty cool set. I mean, it has been around for, what, 8 years now? Which is pretty cool. And it will be retiring at the end of this year, which is kind of unfortunate. It spent a long, long time on shelves and is finally retiring. But fun fact about this, there's actually 3 versions of this. There's a blue one and a red one, as well as this green one. Oops. There's a green one and a red one, as well as this green one, and those are a bit more hard to find, which I thought was interesting. I didn't even know they existed for a long time, but kind of a cool little fact. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed. I shall see you next time, where we will be looking at probably not a creator set, but something interesting. So I shall see you then. Goodbye.